Well, today we're going to take a little tour on one of my favorite national parks, Arches National Park in Moab, Utah. Now, this park can get busy, so particularly if you're here in a high peak time, make sure that you come with a few alternative plans. I did do a video talking about how great Moab is as a city, so you can plan on that as a backup, and there's also Canyonlands, which is also amazing nearby. But today, let's go ahead and see what Arches National Park has in store for us. I first visited Arches National Park around 15 or so years ago. I was mentoring a kid at the time, and his mother had plans for a few days that would have been extraordinarily boring for him. And so she called me up and said, "Hey, you want to take this kid camping?" I was like, "Sure." So we decided we're going to go on to Arches because we were living not too far away. And so I came on down here and we camped on the Colorado River just outside the park, just a little bit east of the town of Moab. There's some really cheap campgrounds out there. And then we head in to the park the next day. And the views and the formations and just the things that are available and the hikes and the beautiful colored sands and the sparse vegetation all make this park absolutely amazing. As you first pass in through the gates, you're going to first wind on up this amazing road going from ground level all the way up to a few thousand feet. As you're seeing fault lines, you're seeing the canyons where the cities are at, you'll see the main roads down below, and then you'll just kind of get up into this open plateau, which has a variety of just different formations. Obviously, there's a ton of arches here, hence its name, but it's not just, holes in the rock. There's a lot more character to the place. And this one here, if you only hit a few national parks in your lifetime, this is a national park that you should really consider hitting. Arches is one of those parks, it's always busy. It is literally a Wednesday, 9 in the morning in November, and it's crowded. I mean, it doesn't look like it right here, but I'm on one of the trails that's a little bit harder to do. So a lot of people don't come down here, but even still, I just passed by a couple folks, and there's actually a lot of folks here. Now, where I'm at right now, this is the trail that goes over, I forget which overlook it goes over to, but this is called the Park Avenue Overlook, because if you look behind me up here, there's all those landscapes that they said, oh, those look like skyscrapers and a city skyline. And so this is called Park Avenue. Now, most of what is in Arches is all based off of things in the Bible. Of course, Utah being a very Mormon-influenced place. And so you'll find a lot of things that are all related to things. So like there's the Tower of Babel, there's the shepherds, the three wise men, there's all sorts of things like that. And then, of course, you have your Devil's Overlook, Devil's Arch, Fallen Angel. This is one of the nice several primitive trails. Arches, to me, it's one of the better parks. I love the red sandstone and the formations. Gives it a little bit different look than the canyons and several other places. I love them both, but there's something special I like about Arches. It's pretty cool. So even though it's a little bit crowded, even on a Wednesday in the middle of November, it is still an awesome place to visit. Made it to the end of this mile trail, which actually just goes right on over there. There's the parking lot beyond that little mound there. But from over here, what we see is a couple of famous formations. This one is the Three Gossips, and then this is the Sheep Rock. And then we have the Tower of Babel over here. And then I'm right next to the Organ. So there is the end of this little trail. You can actually get to this spot here with just a few feet off the driveway over here. There's actually some folks way over there. You can see a couple rocks down there in the distance. That's where we are. In all, Arches is about a 20-mile drive one way. It's about 15-ish miles back, and there's about 5 miles of side roads. A large portion of the park is handicap accessible, so if you are a person that has a harder time moving around, there's going to be plenty to see here. Now, there are a lot of extra hikes as well that you do need to be in better shape for, and there's even the hike through the fiery furnace, which you have to have a ranger's permit to go do that one. But you can go ahead and see a lot of the overview from the car, from the side of the road, and several of the places do have some very nice accessible trailheads as well. So you can actually get in and see some of the arches from inside this park. Nevertheless, the drive out all the way out to the back and then back out the front of the park is absolutely stunning, from anything from just the various formations to some of the arches, balanced rock, and even what is called the Great Wall. I believe it's called the Great Wall, which is just this massive cliffside that you pass through. It's miles long. But there's just so many things to see. Now, for the back roaders and the off countries and the guys with the Jeeps and other high clearance 4x4 vehicles, you can actually get out to some of the back places of the park. A lot harder to access. In fact, the campground where we were at, if you saw the pictures towards the snow-capped mountains, which is the La Salle Mountains, there's actually some rock formations you can see. That is actually the back end of Arches that you cannot get to on the regular paved roads, and that is the Marching Men Formation. So literally I was hiking, or I was camping only about a few miles from the Marching Men, which I could have actually hiked out to had I wanted to take the time to do that. But we'll see here a little bit more of what is down here in Arches, and I hit most of the places other than the large 7-mile loop trail with the Dark Angel Arch and the Double O Arch. I did not see those on this particular trip, although I have hiked that trail in the past. But nevertheless, Arches is just one of the most stunning places to go and visit, as you can see from the drive-by footage. All right, so now we're in another one of the more populated areas. This is the one with the less strenuous hikes, and this is kind of like the windows region. So there's a north window and a south window. There's one of them right there. I don't remember which one that is yet. We'll get there. There's Turret Arch, there's the Double Arch back here, and then a few other things. Again, nice landscape and scenery. So this is about a mile-ish loop to do all of the arches in here. Not a whole lot, so pretty good. It is going uphill for the Turret Arch, which I can kind of see over there. There it is. So we'll get a chance to see that a little bit better up close. Alright, so we're on top of the mountain at the upper view of Delicate Arch, and if you do take this view, definitely bring with you some type of telephoto lens. The arch is there. You can kind of see it. Maybe if I zoom in, it's cool, but it is visible. It is cool looking, and this really is for the lower trail is completely handicap accessible. Top trail not as much. It is pretty cool, although that is a far way away. If you do the hike, which is about a mile out to it, very nice hike, and you can actually get really close. In fact, you can even, you can't see it in my picture here, but there's actually a bunch of people underneath it right now, so you can stand in a separate line and actually go under the arch if you want. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to come back another day and wrap that one up. I'm going to make Arches a 2-day park, so we'll see what part 2 looks like when I get there. Now on day 2, I'm going to go back and hit the things that I did not hit the first time. Overall, you can actually do Arches in one single day if you start early in the morning. I actually did go back to get some work done, so I pretty much did 2 half days. Although 2 full days, you might see a little bit more. On the second day, I'm actually going to hike out to Delicate Arch, and it turned out that there was almost nobody there. It was still like 30 degrees in the morning. Very few people were out there, and there were only about a half dozen of us, maybe about a dozen of us actually, out at the arch at the time I was there, which is shockingly small. I also walked out and looked at Tapestry, Broken Arch, Sand Dune Arch, and a few other ones that are out there as well. Pine Tree, Tunnel Arch, just a lot of different ones. Mostly I'm doing the back part of the park today. So let's see what that has in store, and then we'll be moving on to another place sometime soon. Well, I'm back at Arches, and I'm going to hike up the trail to Delicate Arch. It looks like they've actually made a lot of changes to the trail since I've been here. It's only been 5 years ago. I look all bundled up. That's because it's about 30 degrees out right now. But it's a bright sunny day. It's only 8 in the morning, and by the time I get there, it's probably going to be up to 40, 45. So I'm fine. I did not overdress intentionally for that reason. But yeah, this, I do not remember. There's a bridge over there. I don't remember this hike up here. We'll see if I remember anything else. But maybe the whole trail of Delicate Arch has changed since I've been here just a few years ago. But anyway, we'll see what it looks like when we get there. Here's coming back from the sand arch. It's like a giant sandbox. Very impressive. And there's all these canyon walls up here as well, hundreds of feet high, and then just a little sandbox. Very cool. So this will mark the end of our brief tour through Arches. The reality is, I can't do it justice. Just like as I wake up recording this from some western state where I can see the sunset over the desert and the silhouette of cacti off the horizon and the mountains peeking up out of the desert, you can't capture that in a photograph. In the same way, we just can't capture these national parks in the photographs as much. Hopefully, if anything else, I've given you a few ideas to look for when you go there, and hopefully I might have even encouraged you to take the trip out to the park yourself and see it for yourself. It's one thing to watch a video online. It's another thing to get out there and be like, wow, I can actually go and see it for myself. So if I do nothing else in this video but encourage you to go out and visit maybe any national park, I haven't found an ugly one yet, But Arches does have some extra glory to it that is certainly worth visiting. And best time to visit it is probably in the wintertime. It's not overly cold. This is footage is done in November, and it was warm enough to not have the jacket once it warmed up. Of course, in the early mornings, it was still pretty cold. In the peak of the summer, you might find yourself in long lines, and you might even come up and find the park closed because there's too many people in it already. So definitely hit the park, and there are some other national parks in the nearby vicinity as well. But with that, thanks for coming along. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.